The staff is standing on the shoulders of some pretty remarkable women that contributed to Washington Performing Arts. It wouldn't be what it is today without them. John and I had gone to a pre-concert reception at an embassy, and we met Barbara Gordon. She grabbed me and told me I had to come be a part of the women's committee.
Patrick Hayes had this great idea. He was the founding father of the organization, and Barbara Gordon was the founding mother of the women's committee.
She was really special. She would tell you, the women's committee is a diverse group of women of all ethnicities, and we must keep it that way. Everybody in, nobody out means we're reaching for everybody.
Patrick Hayes and diversity, that's a large territory. I think the most important thing is that it was something that was lived every day and not just some wonderful words or a catchy phrase. I think he would be so pleased that a brilliant woman is President CEO of the organization.
I was very aware of Patrick Hayes' legacy and the fact that Todd Duncan had been the first chairman of the board. I felt with Washington Performing Arts that the commitment to equity and inclusion, diversity, was so baked in that it was an essential part of the DNA. And that was something that Patrick Hayes forged and has been a value of the organization ever since.
I think the WPA does an incredible job with genre diversity. I mean, I've attended concerts at the Kennedy Center, at Sixth and I, with world music. I've been at Strathmore with an incredible jazz performance.
What really attracted me to the organization was its broad and diverse program, and that's everything from a free performance up on the lawns of the Library of Congress, to gospel choirs at Duke Ellington, to Pink Martini at the Kennedy Center. My very first touch point was through the Embassy Adoption Program. When I joined the Embassy of Australia and found out that the Embassy had been a partner for over 30 years, I was firstly floored that an arts organisation had been in operation for an incredible period of time across the city and had this amazing partnership with the diplomatic community.
We have a component called the Many United Nations, and this involves students representing their adopted country, and we always invite our diplomats to come and sit with the students. Well, I opened the morning and I said, "Thank you all for coming, and would all of our diplomats please stand?" And the students stood.
And what was so profound and moving for me at that moment was that the kids, many of whom had never traveled abroad or imagined themselves traveling abroad, many of whom had never left Washington, D.C., were dressed up and they were representing their countries and their classrooms, and they saw themselves as diplomatic representatives. I'm still getting chills as I think about that, because the ability for a program to empower a child to feel good about themselves so that they stand up and they look around and they see the affirmation of their peers and the adults around them is something that is very rare. At the end of it, if kids feel that they have agency and presence and confidence in themselves, that will be to the benefit of our society long term.
What I value most about Washington Performing Arts, it's the relationships. It's the relationships with the students, to see children being children, liking what they do or exploring, trying to discover what it is they want to do.
It's provided me with some of the most profound experiences of my life, to have a child come up to you after a performance who's nonverbal and look at you in the eye, and they look at you and you think, I think magic happened there.
Many people don't realize that we are literally in 100 public schools throughout the Washington, D.C. area. This is a really unusual and wide footprint, because many of those 100 schools have multiple education programs in them. And we're the only arts presenter of its kind in the country with 2 resident gospel choirs, an adult gospel choir and a children's gospel choir.
Gospel music is a conduit. I don't care what walk in life you've come from, you can relate. If it's to the sounds, if it's to the lyrics, it brings harmony and peace, solidarity, unity. What we give these students, they are not going to find it anywhere else.
How dull would life be if we didn't have color, if we didn't have sound, if we didn't have movement? So it's important that we are able to feel it, see it, touch it, taste it. And I think Washington Performing Arts it's a wonderful vehicle to offer that to the city.
I almost came to tears with Beethoven Sonata, and this woman just put her hand on my knee and said, "Honey, it's beautiful, isn't it?" It was one of those moments where a total stranger, was able to make a connection.
It's just invaluable how integral Washington Performing Arts is to our lives and enriching our lives.
One thing that WPA does, it gives a range of opportunities for participation. They appreciate all gifts, large and small.
From day one, I have felt good about Washington Performing Arts. I usually get involved in volunteer things that are dreary and depressing, and we have to fight for something. And this wasn't that. It was just a way to support a really happy thing and keep it going.
Washington Performing Arts is very important to me. I feel like it feeds my soul when I go to the performances, and I feel like it gives me a chance to do something meaningful in giving back to the community.
What a miracle it is for me to have become involved here and to continue to have it as a positive thing in my life.
I love teaching, and Washington Performing Arts has allowed me to do what I want to do, to reach as many children as I can. Just to be able to be a part of an organization that is really raising children to appreciate arts and giving them another way to think. I love it. I love it. That's all.